Father Schrader retired in 1968, leaving an unparalleled Loras Players legacy. Following in his footsteps would be a monumental task, but that challenge would not only be met, but surpassed in coming years. It took a year to find a suitable replacement for Father Schrader, and in 1970 the Loras Players broke new ground. Hired as co-directors, Don and Loretta Stribling were the first directing duo for the Loras Players. In every way, the Striblings were a team. They used their bond with each other to create a close-knit theater family. From 1970 until 2000, the Striblings directed more than 100 shows for the Loras Players, creating a world of classical theater.
Well, when you've been someplace for 30 years, you've been working with people for 30 years, it means a great deal.
They were very much an actor's director. They just let you run with it, and we had such great times in rehearsals.
It was great working with the students. We liked what we did. It was, I would say, a lot of work. When it comes right down to it, you were busy all the time.
I mean, the commitment level that they brought to the Loras Players over the years. I mean, you don't spend as much time in the theater, in rehearsals, or building the set that they did and not love what you do and love the people you're with. And it was a very strong family feel to it. I mean, they had a genuine interest in everyone that was in productions with them.
Don and Loretta Stribling were a huge influence in my life. Got me into teaching theater, took me on speech team tournaments, which I now coach.
They had a way of bringing out who we were and really helping us to enjoy our time there and feel a part of it, but to feel privileged. If you got to be on the stage, it was a privilege.
And we worked in tandem. One of us would block, I would block, and while he worked on set, and then he would take over blocking while I was working on costumes.
It worked out really well, I think, because we communicated with each other extremely well in terms of what was to be done or what was not to be done and so on, so that everything seemed to go very well.
Well, my favorite aspect was probably the rehearsals and just hanging out in the theater. I mean, it was my second home. I mean, sometimes I would just go early to rehearsal and do my homework on stage and whatever set was around, you know, and then eventually people would start to come in.
The Loras Players group, that was the outlet for all the creative, goofy people, and we just loved being together. And so whether we were doing a show or not, we still kept hanging out together as the same.
One of my really good friends, Kathy Stribling, and I used to get to the makeup room. We were always the first ones. We had our set seats. We would do our makeup and just kind of take our time. And there's other people that would rush in and get it done, but we liked being there.
We both ran rehearsals. One of the big things that Dawn always said was, do what the last person told you to do.
One thing that set the Striblings apart during their time at Loras was their love for children's shows.
Great things about children's theater when I did shows with Don and Loretta at Loras was Don and Loretta had a very keen understanding of children's theater. And the idea that you don't insult the children's intelligence.
Little toilet traffic, very little toilet traffic. We kept them in their seats. That was a big thing. And kids don't have to be polite. If they have to go potty, they'll get up and go potty.
You know, you had to be scared of them. If you had half a brain in your head, you were scared of them, and at the same time, awestruck, because they were right, you know. And I still remember Loretta yelling from the back of the auditorium of, "Get your hands off your hips. If I had hips like that, I wouldn't accentuate them." And she was right, you know, and so I still don't put my hands on my hips.
One of the things probably that stands out most with the Striblings, having gone to Loras and then went on and got my MFA in acting and worked with a lot of different directors and everything, was the fact that the Striblings really were advocates of exploration when you were an actor on stage.
It worked good for us as far as being a team was concerned, because we can see the strengths of both of us and we can see our weaknesses.
I was going to transfer after my sophomore year at Loras because I felt like I should go to a bigger school.
They were very student-focused. It wasn't just about putting the show up and moving on to the next one. It was making sure that students who either had experience or had no experience were challenged.
He said, you know, you can go. You can maybe do shows, maybe not, in another big college. Or you can stay here and I'll teach you everything I know. And so I stayed.
They didn't care what you tried as long as you tried something, as long as you made choices as an actor. Very freeing, a lot of fun to be in a show with them, because unless you're really crashing and burning on some of these choices, they kind of let you go with it and they let you see where it led to. And as an actor, that's a lot.
I was stage manager for the gin game, and it starred Don and Loretta. And so watching them act on stage for the gin game was absolutely stunning, because they were always the directors and they were always the ones telling us, you know, this or that. But every night of that performance, they just sold it. And to watch them was just magical.
It was fun. We've been married for 52 years. 30 of those years were spent at Loras College. So I think that we have a very warm relationship, a warm feeling about Loras College.